Hello and welcome to another episode of Never Onside. Hi, this is Joseph, and joining me as usual is Mayur. We have witnessed Champions League football after a long break, and it has not, it feels so good to be back covering Champions League. And also, if you noticed, a few of the players were singing along with the anthem. If you remember Murphy, who was playing with Newcastle, who was a boyhood fan at Newcastle, he would never have thought he would play in the Champions League. And it was surreal to say the least to see a lot of players, enjoying the moment and absolutely in awe of what a spectacle it actually is. And Eddie Howe apparently said that he has never watched a Champions League match before, and he said it's too overrated to think that it's a big deal. At the end of the day, it's just a football match. So from that to us, thinking about Champions League as something which is absolutely crazy, something which features some of the best footballers in the world under one roof. It is indeed the carnival of football, and we are all excited to have it back and running. So let's get into the review of the Champions League matches, starting with the Milan Newcastle derby. Mayur, did you watch this match?
Yes, and to say the least, Newcastle were very lucky. The way Milan played, they were really lucky. And I think Eddie Howe should watch more games and should understand how to set up in a Champions League game compared to the domestic league games we have seen. And Newcastle were found out. We have seen this season Newcastle mostly rely on not allowing their wing backs to have one-on-one situations, but the sheer pace and Rafa Leo and everyone on the wings just found out those gaps and they were just playing and creating chances left, right, center. Only thing missing was the goal. Yes.
Yep. But after 90 minutes, I'm sure it is a huge result for Newcastle uh, for the fact that Milan kind of opened them up, but they still survived. And in their first Champions League match, they did hold up against the big boys. So it's a good result for them. And Leipzig versus Young Boys, I think Leipzig won 3-1, and Leipzig, we have covered them before. They have started the season pretty well. They look solid and are real contenders in the league. But in terms of Champions League, probably they do pack a punch in certain matches. So we'll keep an eye out for them. Moving on to the next
The
match.
interesting, yes, the
Yeah.
more interesting game was the Lazio Atletico de Madrid. Madrid
Right.
kept the clean sheet throughout the game, and in the last minute, who would have imagined a keeper coming in and scoring the equalizer and getting the point shared between both the teams? So we have seen Atletico Madrid, who I mentioned in the last part, they were in great form. They have been brushing teams around and scoring goals for fun, but in the last two games, they have been struggling a bit.
Yeah, to just give you a backstory, Atletico scored in the 29th minute. Pablo Barrios scored, and Lazio being at home, they wanted to at least snatch a point. So by the 95th minute of stoppage time, um, Ivan Providel, that's the goalkeeper, he came into the box to, I think it was a corner or a free kick, and then he managed to head the ball in with some profound movement, the movement that you would somewhat associate with a striker, and then that's how it went in. But then the backstory to it is that he was a striker back in its youth days, and he has scored apparently 22 or 32 goals for their youth side before transforming himself into a goalkeeper. So you could see by the moment that he is indeed a person who has the knack of heading goals in, and it was surreal, and that is why we love football and the Champions League as well. Yeah, moving on to another interesting match was the Paris Dortmund match. This is the group of death, Group F, where Milan, Newcastle, Paris, and Dortmund are. and Paris has pulled off a great result because Milan and Newcastle drew, and they managed to beat the other team, which is in their group. So Paris were coming off a defeat in the last game in the domestic league, but then um, Luis Enrique, after the match, told the media that he is excited for this challenge because he can see a lot of talent, young players in his squad who for whom the sky is the limit, and he has the likes of Mbappe, Dembele to call upon when he needs experience. So he was absolutely thrilled, even though he was defeated on the day. But he was absolutely thrilled with the squad that he has and the players at his disposal. So in this game, Paris did turn up. They dominated the game. They were able to come out on top with a 2-0 win. Moving on to the City match, did you watch this match, Mayur?
Yes, City. I watched this game in bits and pieces. City, they conceded early as in the first half, and they didn't look very well in the start. They missed a few chances here and there. The usual stuff which we are seeing in Premier League. Haaland missing a lot of chances, so there might be a patch in his game where he is missing some easy chances, and generally those chances are buried and we don't think about it. But when we saw this Haaland struggling, fortunately for City, Alvarez has stepped up, and he has stepped up really good. So he has been scoring free kicks, just not just the regular goals, but free kicks as well. And he has been a very threatening player. And we saw Pep saying Alvarez is undroppable now in the form he has, and obviously uh, the amount of injuries they have as well. But yes, this
Right.
was a very good game. City came back, and the usual they creating a lot of chances, but finishing has been a problem for them as well.
Yeah, and I think Bernardo Silva was injured. He was taken
Injured,
off just after halftime, and Doku came in, and probably that's when the game kind of changed on his head
changed.
with Alvarez scoring in the 47th minute and the 60th minute, and eventually Rodri capping off of the game with a goal in the 73rd minute. But um, you know, you have to give credit to the opponents because I think they're from the Serbian league. So they did hold up on their own, at least in the first half, where were defensively very solid. Their positioning and the movement that they had defensively was really good. So some positives for them to take. Going away to City is not the easiest one. Probably people would have betted on them losing 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, but contrary to what the scoreline looks, I think they did hold up well against City. And moving on to Barca match, I heard you guys are thrilled with João Felix. Finally, he has a home.
Yes. Uh, the since they have both joined in, the both the jaws have joined in, we have been playing just differently. Felix has joined in like he has played for Barcelona team throughout the ages. Doesn't look like he is joining a new team or anything. And similarly with Cancelo, we have been in need of a proper right back since few years, and getting a right back who understands, who can come in centrally, play those position what Xavi likes. Yes, this is just dream, and this is a phase where you don't want Barca games to end. The way they are playing, the way they are just playing and playing the opponent as well. There is just fluidity, multiple ways of attacking opponent, and then on to top it off, finishing of Lewandowski and Felix again. So definitely, it's a big move. I At the point of time when the deal was being made, I wasn't this sure Felix to come in this good and just start delivering on the first since the first game itself. But yes, whatever Xavi thought about him, he had the confidence, and now we can see. And this just suits the system as well. We were previously also playing the four midfielder system, but we had a proper midfielder in the fourth spot, which was a left wing. But now having a left forward who can play and defend as well like a midfielder, but has that attacking instinct, is a very crucial point for Lewandowski as well. Lewandowski has also started scoring since the arrival of Felix in onto the Barca team. So yes, very
Right.
happy with the team.
Their chemistry looks really good for Barcelona. Talking about impact signings, Jude Bellingham, he is etching his name in the Real Madrid books, and in the hearts of these fans, because he time and again manages to score at the most crucial moments when Real Madrid really need a savior. He steps up and scores goals. It's enthralling to say the least that you see a young player who is not daunted by the task of going to a club like Real Madrid, who has the additional responsibility of scoring goals when there isn't a world class striker in a club like Real Madrid, and he is embracing the challenge like a veteran who has been through this. And he scored in the 94th minute again, and that's how Real Madrid managed to win against Union Berlin. By the way, Union Berlin fans did have a great time in Madrid, where they occupied the streets. They were chanting. They were jubilous. They were happy to be in Madrid and play against Real Madrid. So, moving on to the biggest match, Bayern Munich versus Manchester United. We have had so many thrillers down the years. This is a classic match, and probably people who didn't watch this match would have thought that this scoreline tells them that this is a classic 4-3 Bayern versus United, two teams at their prime, giving it their all. But to be frank, this was, I don't know. I don't think Bayern were really great, and the scoreline is doesn't do justice to the game, because it was United were too good for this result and too bad for this result. That is how I would classify it, because in the starting 28 minutes, we dominated the game in terms of we had the best chance going forward. I don't know how on earth Pelistri missed that chance. I think Alfonso Davis came in from behind him and snatched the ball. It was basically a tap in. Ericsson could have scored from the rebound again. If that goal goes in, everything changes. And then Bayern in 3 minutes scored, I think, two goals. One was a howler from Onana, as if we are not used to howlers from a keeper. Onana is the last person you would expect to concede that goal, but then it happened. But then you could see the confidence level dropping from the sky level to rock bottom, and you could see Bayern growing into the game. And Musiala was brilliant, and he helped him in the second goal as well. And then that's when United were clueless about what to do. It didn't look like United would score a goal in that match. And then during halftime, I don't know what Eric Ten had told these guys, but they came out. Hoyland scored, and within 2 or 3 minutes, we conceded a penalty, which I'm sure isn't a penalty. It shouldn't be a penalty in normal circumstances, but it was given. And this is testament to how United always concedes after scoring a goal. Even if they're 2-0 down and they score one, they'll concede. Even if they are, even if if it's a draw and they got in that goal to draw the match, but then they'll concede again. So that goes down to the mentality of the players, and also I feel we are very pretty unlucky. We were back in the match with 2-1, and United were looking to play really well, like in the second half, but then again a goal comes in, and the last two goals scored by Casemiro were absolutely flukes, because I don't know, it was basically tap ins and him poking it in, lying on the ground. So I don't know how those two goals went in, but at least on paper, the scoreline looks respectable for United because of those two goals. And I think Casemiro and Eriksen were picked apart. We have
Yes, your
discussed, yeah, we have
yes, your
discussed this
midfield
before.
looks very bad.
Yeah, so unless Amrabat, Mount, Maino comes in, we can't play in the Champions League with Ericsson and Casemiro. Casemiro is nowhere close to his usual fitness or his usual confidence level. And the likes of Musiala absolutely enjoyed playing against this United midfield. So that is something United have to deal with. Probably once the injured players are back, we'll have a better chance of playing decent football. Yeah, so moving on from the disappointment of United, Arsenal were sky high in terms of their performance. They were really dominant against the PSG side, who can prove tricky on their days. But again, Gabriel Jesus coming in really helped the side, and it lifted Arsenal pretty well. And Trossard coming into the slot left behind by Martinelli, he also hit the ground running when he was called upon. So positive signs for Arsenal.
Yes, and apart from that, the last game which I want to mention is the Real Sociedad versus Inter game. Very interesting game comparing two sides. Inter, who is in their good form, patch of form in Serie A, also they have been playing really well. But Real Sociedad definitely showed a fight against them, and they were, you could say, in a way unlucky to not get all the 3 points. But
I
yes,
think they were leading, right? They were
yes, they were
leading
leading
once.
throughout. Yes, for a majority of the game. And Inter came back in the 87th minute or something with a Lautaro Martinez goal. But yes, you could say again, very interesting. The group D, yes, that is also very interesting group. Whether Real Sociedad can top it, compared, it won't be as easy as we think Inter just topping it, but it will be interesting to see. So yes, that game was very good. Apart from that, Napoli also winning, one of the big teams, Napoli winning against Braga. So that is our Champions League review host. Let's move on to the second part of the podcast.